Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Arakak Radash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salute to the Akim out there that's pushing this truth in all sincerity, and even unto those that are learning and listening and watching thereby in all sincerity as well. It's the brother Mark Come, and I'm coming at you with this lesson for this week. And the name of it is called, But unto you that fear my name, shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. And that's our hope. Our hope is that when Yahushua makes his second return, we're chosen to be saved. And that being the case, we are healed. And the main problem that I want to touch on that we're experiencing down here on this earth is that there is a battle that's going on between the flesh and the spirit, and that's the greatest diseases out of all diseases. And being that we're in the flesh, there's many things in the flesh that we suffer. We suffer. Certain brothers that I know have sickle cell anemia. There's brothers that I know that have back problems. There's brothers that I know that have severe levels of eczema. Okay, and the list goes on. And I feel it's safe to say through the spirit that most of us in Great Millstone have some kind of health issue of some sort. All right, and there's certain issues that can be taken care of by changing your diet, and there's diseases that you can't take care of even if you do change your diet. Okay, and even such as myself, brothers have seen me before. I'm a brother that has a missing eye, of course, because I was born like that, and that's something that I can't change. Even if I try to or wanted to, I can't do it. So there's certain things which problems that we have, Salakia, problems that we have that we can't change until the Son of Man makes his second return. Pursuant to the book of Jude, the first chapter, it says that we should be in the chains of darkness till the day of the Lord. Okay? And this is why we are in his truth, because we are seeking for a better life after all, and this is why we do the work. This is why we've been out there in the hours and the byways, especially down here in London, England. We as brothers, we don't go out no more because of this situation, this stupid coronavirus scared thing that's going on. And, you got brothers all around that are still going out doing the work, but we do all of this simply because we hope that we are chosen to be saved. We don't do this to be seen of men or to garner some form of fame as much as we can, making a name for ourselves. No, we do it because we fear the Lord, and we are in hope to believe, because we already know Yahushua is coming back. But while he is back, we want to be saved. And in that being saved, we want to be healed from this situation we're in. Okay? So now what I want to do is I want to move on to the book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 37. I'll start with. It says, "That word I say ye know, which was published throughout all Judea, and began from Galilee after the baptism which John preached, how the Most High anointed Yahushua of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for the Most High was with him." And when you read the book of Matthew, the 4th chapter, it speaks on how, he was healing the lame and the sick all throughout, and he got famous in doing so. And I'm not going to elaborate any more longer because I got it right here, so I might as well read it. It says, "And Yahushua went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom." And who was the gospel of the kingdom being preached towards? Obviously the children of Israel, being that he commanded the 12 to do the same thing. Okay? So if he commanded the 12 to do the same thing, before he commanded them, he was already doing it. Teaching the kingdom of heaven towards the children of Israel. So let's read on. "And healing all manner of sickness and all manner of disease among the people. And his fame went throughout all Syria. And they brought unto him all sick people that were taken with diverse disease and torments, and those which were possessed with devils, and those which were lunatic, which you had people that suffered from epilepsy, and those that had the palsy, those that were paraplegic, and he had healed them. So these were strong diseases that Yahweh Shai had to heal from the people, and he had that ability to heal the people from these diseases. These were no easy to get rid of diseases. These were strong, powerful diseases. And how was he able to do this? Because he had the wisdom and understanding to do what he had done to the people, and also because the Most High anointed them to do it. He was dealing with them. All right. So when Yahweh Shai make his second return, he's going to do the same thing. And this is why, as I'm going to read again in the book of Malachi, the 4th chapter, in the 2nd verse, it says, "But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings." So when Yahweh Shai comes back, we're automatically going to be changed from being in a mortal state to a state of immortality, which is what Paul was speaking about. All right, "And ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall," meaning we're going to have, again, immortality and also spiritual power. And then we're going to have access to that new covenant. So once we are set in that estate, we will no longer fall. Because the reason why we've fallen as a nation is all because of what? The flesh. And there's an element in the flesh, and that element is sin, which that element grew due to what Adam did. And that's a lesson. That's another lesson that I'm going to do later on. All right. So let me read. I've read that already. So let's read Romans 7:1, because the disease that trumps all diseases is this war, this ongoing battle between the spirit and the flesh. And this right here has to be taken care of. And this is something that Paul spoke about because he was a man in the flesh as well. And this is exactly what we're experiencing to this very moment in time. All right? We want to do good, but we do that not. And the bad that we do not want to do, we wind up doing it. Why? Because we're in the flesh. In the flesh dwelleth no good thing, and we are sold under sin. And when you sin, there's a recompense that comes from that. So we need to get away from that. We need to be delivered from that. Let's read Romans 7 and verse 13. "Was then that which is good made death unto me? God forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceedingly sinful. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin." And what does the word carnal mean? The word carnal means the flesh, sold under sin. "For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that I do I. If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that is good. Now then it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. For the good that I would, I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. Now, if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me." So when you do the wrong, in most cases, it's really because your flesh seduced you into doing that. Because the flesh only just reacts to what feels good. The flesh knows no bounds. And this is where the problems occur. And this is why, people do bad rather than good, because it's much more effort to do that which is good rather than to do this bad. It's easier and it feels better to do the bad thing rather than to do the good thing. And this is how we've been constructed. The Most High made us to be in this flesh. The Most High didn't make us to be sinful, because the Lord created our spirits to be righteous, but we're sold under sin. So the problem relies in the flesh. And when you think of the flesh, also what Paul was expounding on, the things of the flesh is jealousy, envy, maliciousness, and all the above. All of this comes from the flesh. And this is all negativity. And when you think negativity, what happens? Negativity comes around you. There's a recompense to the negativity that you think of. And those thoughts can be put into action. All right? Therefore, bringing forth sin. Therefore, you have to deal with the consequences of that. All right? This is why we must continue to be in this truth, in the hopes of that we are saved out of this situation, so that we can simply, at the end of it all, and this is why I say personally that this is the illness that we're all experiencing, that trumps above all illnesses. Okay? Because really we were put here on this earth to simply fear the Lord and to do that which is of the fear of the Lord. But how can we do that when we're sold under sin? So this is why a change has to come. So let's get Galatians 5 verse 17. It says, "For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary one to the other, so that ye cannot do the thing that ye would." And that's why Paul was telling you what he was going to do, because he was a man of the flesh himself, as we all are, and we're going to do the same thing. We want to do that which is good. We want to do that which is pleasing to ourselves, and have cases other people, and most likely the Heavenly Father, but we're not able to do it. Why? Because the flesh is holding down the spirit, and that's even in the Apocrypha too. I don't know where that's at, but it's in the Apocrypha somewhere. As it also says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So Yahweh Shai going to save us and deliver us from the situation that we're dealing with concerning this flesh. Because Yahweh Shai is going to deliver us from many things, man. He's going to deliver us from this captivity, obviously. He's going to deliver us from these chains of darkness. And obviously, within the chains of darkness, the issues that you face, the health issues that you face, Okay? So when Yahweh Shai said he was going to save us, we're going to know what it means as to what he meant, as what was written therein, as to what he's going to do. We're going to experience that on all levels. Let's read. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get Job 5 and 18. It says, "For he maketh sore and bindeth up, he woundeth, and his hands make whole." Exactly. So the Most High is the one that creates evil on the earth to make you sore. Like, for example, there was an evil that took place upon our people, and that was us being forced against our will to be enslaved. And after that, after slavery, we never been the same since. "And bindeth up, and he woundeth, and his hands make whole." So eventually, the Most High is going to send his son down to make us whole all over again. We're going to be whole mentally and physically and spiritually. And we're going to be in harmony within ourselves, because where there is the reason why our people are where they are, and we as a whole, should I include myself as well, is because we're in a disharmonized situation all around. And this is why we're under the vibration of wickedness. Due to what? The flesh. And really the flesh should be in harmony with the spirit, because the spirit is is your essence of who you are. The spirit comes first and then the flesh. So there's even a disorder with the flesh. The flesh ain't in order with the spirit. So again, this is why we need to be saved out of here. Okay? This is why we need to be remaining in this truth. There's no reason why one should give up this truth. And if you give up this truth, what are you giving up? You're giving up that which is highly essential, and you're bringing yourself back to a world that's declining day in and day out, and it's on the cusp of destruction. So you're really going back to nothing. you know. But as I must say, it's all due to will and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, whether you stay in this truth or you don't. It's all up to him at the end of the day, you know. Anyway, let's move on. Revelations 21, verse 4. And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, and neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Exactly, taking us away from the flesh, taking us away from this captivity that we're serving, and taking away all of the curses that we're under right now. And once that is done, then this is going to take place also in the book of Isaiah 65. So if we're not mourning and crying and weeping, then what's the opposite of that? Let's read this. Verse 17. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create a Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. And that's simply because Yahweh is going to send his son Yahushai to dissolve all of our problems, whether that's health problems, whether that's mental problems, whether that's you being poor, whatever issue it is. The Most High is going to take care of all of that. And the ultimate above all issues is the flesh warring against the spirit. That's going to be done away with too. And the celestial bodies that we're going to have is going to be in league with the spirit. So once the body is in league with the spirit, then there's complete harmony. All right. And even just by looking at our bodies and our circumstances is an indication why order is so important. Okay. If there's within any corporation, if there's in disorder, which the word corp means body, if there's this harmony going on in an organization or corporation, it's going to go through problems, man. And if the problems are not taken care of, then that corporation won't work. All right. So it's the same thing that we're experiencing right now in our physical bodies. The reason why we have these evil thoughts, the reason why we are experiencing sorrow, the reason why we can't seem to, keep up in terms of that which is good, because we're in a disharmonized situation. And the disharmonized situation that is the spirit fighting against the flesh. Pursuant to Galatians, the 5th chapter. And Yahushua has come to dead all of that. And that's what our hope is. Our hope is that we are set up to be chosen for salvation, and in that, eventually we are healed. Let's get Thessalonians 5 verse 11. Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. And this is why we do these videos. We don't do these videos to garner any kind of fame, to get a good name, or anything of that nature. We do this because we fear the Lord, and we have hope and belief that if we do all of these good things, then our reward will be, and that we are saved, and in that, as I'm going to say again, we are healed. Okay? And also to build one another up. So with that, I'm going to close this video out, giving all the praises and the glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Arakak. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salute to the Akim out there that's pushing this truth in all sincerity, and even unto those that's learning and listening in all sincerity as well. Shalom.